And hello, welcome to Pieces That Pat Paints. I am Pat that paints the pieces. Anyway, I'm a goofball as well, for those of you who don't know. If you've never been here before, I'm kind of a little strange. We're here usually every weekday, about 1 o'clock. And we run for about an hour every weekday that we can. You know, of course, there's always things that happen. And that's cool. You know, life happens. You gotta go do stuff. Usually it has to do with my kids, they're fantastic. I love my kids. Anyway, well, we are still, we're still painting armor on Malaketh here. He has a lot of armor. It's going all right. We're moving along. You know, he looks great on all together. It's fun to put him all together. We're gonna take his head off though and put it over there because his head will roll around because it's not attached. That'd be scary. So anyway, so we've got the bases done. I think you guys watched me do that. This sucker's a big project. It's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to be almost towards the end of it, of course. But that's just me because I like a variety of things. I like to do different things and stuff. Oh, and there's my box of skulls. That's always fun. I love the skulls. We'll be using those for other more Warhammery projects in the near future. Okay, so what we are doing today is painting more armor. Golly, that silver, that dark silver looks pretty black. I love it. It's kind of what we're looking for. We're trying to make a black armor, so the idea here is to, I'm sure you get the idea. We want it to be a dark color. About time to add some more water to that. Yep, we should be okay. And I think I had a couple places I had to chase down here. I'm correct. We needed to chase down with some of this bronze. Really should get my paintbrush wet. I've also found out that if you'll get a little spot kind of wetter, it seems to have pull off the excess water better for me. And just using like a cloth. And this is the ply on this, or the stitch on this cloth is pretty rough, but it's a junk towel, and I have a bunch of them, and I can throw them away as I use them. So I'm going to use them, and that way, because they last a lot longer than a paper towel. And the little foot is distracting me there. Moving my brush line off. Oh, we should turn off music. Goodness. Goodness again. For those of you who don't know, I have a lung condition. I am always kind of wheezy and coughy. I try not to cough into the mic very often. It does happen from time to time, but I try not to. That's what the music's for, is cover up my coughing. And maybe my ridiculous laughing. I do laugh at a lot of ridiculous stuff. So if you're not down for like a little bit of ridiculousness, you're probably in the wrong place. Goodness. It is in there, isn't it? Trying to find a way we can get it to where you can see where I'm doing and I can actually do what I'm trying to do. That's like the biggest challenge with learning how to paint on camera, is the getting to where you're able to do what you want to do painting wise and still keep it where people can see it. It is a challenge. Oh, and then be in a place where the mic can pick you up, because there's always that. You know, your mic can't pick you up or whatever. And live painting seems to be fraught with these perils. But I'm kind of like Lancelot. Let me face the peril. Or is that Percival? I think it was Percival from Monty Python, the Holy Grail. For those of you who are super nerds, you'll get that joke. I think it was Percival. Alright. Not that I'm too worried about this underneath his leg, where people really aren't going to look. But it's the point. It's the thought that counts, right? It's not the point that you won't see it. And we're just going to come in on some of this and just very gently pick out that bronze again. Any place where it looks like maybe it went too far down on us. Especially on these ridge pieces. I'm not so worried about my little button pieces. I might give it just a little bit of a hit. Nothing too serious. But I do kind of want to bring that. Make sure we got that pop on that metal. And with this one, we're really trying to kind of be more purposeful about where we're going to hit it. We can leave some of that darker, or it might be a little bit more schmitzy or whatever. I love the term schmitzy. I need a little error right there. I think it's going to be like a glaring flaw to my face for a minute. There we go. That ought to fix it. I don't know about fixing the lump in my throat. Hopefully that little bit of did it. I don't know. Seriously looks like black metal. That's exactly what we're looking for. So, huzzah. Alright. Now I know we got this back part missing here because I did that on purpose. And I think we're good. We got to figure out this handle here soon. But I think we can get back to doing panels at this point. We can do these inside panels. It's been raining like crazy here in the Oklahoma, central Oklahoma area. So, you know, all the plants are growing. So it's definitely got my allergies just like mad. I'm just glad I'm able to talk at all. I was afraid this morning when I woke up. I was like, ooh, that's feeling pretty froggy. I hope we're going to make it through the show. Okay. Now participate with me here, Mr. Malaketh. Okay. That's a real difficult spot because of where his arm is. So I really don't want to go too haphazardly and quickly here. I gotta be very particular about which way I'm moving my brush. I want to be able to see what I'm doing. Oh, and I was going to talk about this today. Something I need to talk about with metallics and using good brushes. And I probably don't talk about this stuff enough. But like, and you don't see this, but I'm washing, now that we have our soap, this right here, this cleaner preserver, I wash my brushes pretty regularly. And when you're using metallics, you got to wash them a lot more often. Because like, if you don't wash and condition it, the metallics will start to shred your brush. So you need to be kind of like, make sure you're rinsing them out pretty good, and then make sure you're using that brush cleaner. It's a good thing to have in general if you're going to start keeping better brushes. If you're just going to use a synthetic, you know, you'd be all right. Synthetics are cheaper, and if you trash it too much, you can just go get another one. But if you like the feel of a quality brush and you're worried about the metallics, just make sure you've got that brush soap available. It's super important just for the life of your brush and really the quality of the way the brush is going to put the paint on there. If it gets too, if the brush gets too messed up, it's not going to put paint on it properly, and then you're just gonna be irritated. And nobody wants that, really. Nobody wants to be irritated. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody who does. There's always somebody that wants to do something, but, you know, for the most part, I don't think people really want to spend their time irritated, especially at things like a paintbrush. That seems pretty ridiculous. Again, be mindful of where your stuff is. You know that sword's there. That's why I keep lifting my arm around it. I'm coming around this blade. Try to remember what you're doing. Remember where you are, what you're working on. That can be sometimes the hardest part. Because, you know, you can have a bunch of distractions going on. You know, dog barking, or kids yelling, or, you know, your spouse hollering at you, or, you know, maybe you're listening to something too intently on the radio. Maybe it's a podcast, or, you know, a song you're really jamming out to. You just kind of can kind of forget what you're doing and make a mistake and really damage your model. I'd say yourself, but usually not. But that being said, there are some of these things that are pretty dang sharp. You might put a hole in your hand. Not with this guy. That will. I mean, Yeah, have you tried? If you tried, you could put that tip through your finger. You have to hit it pretty hard, though. But I built a couple of metal models that you can slice your finger open. I hear Princess Tappy Toes back there. It's so funny. She waits for me to say that, and then she comes tapping in. Hello, Blue Blue. Napupper. Yeah, Napupper. She's a good dog. She can be really annoying, but I think that's a dog thing. I think dogs in general, pets in general probably. It's probably not just reduced to dogs, because I have cats and they're annoying on occasions. But you know, you gotta love them. They're here to kind of annoy us a little bit, I think. Keep us remembering that life can just carry on, you know? It's not that serious. What's really serious is getting some noms and getting some pets. Rub my belly. That's what's important in life. Also to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. But that's, you know, that's a whole different kind of what's best in life. That's more the, you know, sword and sorcery. Old Conan joke. Yeah, kind of what my rule of thumb is once I start to see it starting to split here. I don't know if I can actually get the camera to show you that, but anyway, the brush at the head of it is doing a little bit of like splitting, and so like tonight, like today after I shut down, I'll put the soap on them, and then tomorrow I'll clear it off before we get started, and or I'll do it right before we get going. You don't have to wait that long. It's nice if you can let the soap sit in it for a little while. Maybe not quite overnight, but sometimes I do that, and that's okay too. It'll come right off. But the conditioner, if it can soak for a good 30 minutes, that's the best. That's ideal. If you don't have that long, you know, that's okay too. You know, if you're in a rush, maybe you forgot to do it, or there's always mitigating circumstances to everything. What's really nice for me right now is this stuff is thickened up enough to work more like the paints I like, so but it hasn't dried completely out, and or gotten grainy in its drying process, which is a good test for this paint, for the way I do things. I'm not like most artists that paint miniatures, so seeing like right here where this is an obvious, there's obviously some damage on that armor piece. When the technique we're going to do is really going to help kind of like bring that out. There's that little bit of here. And so that technique where we're bringing in that wash, it's kind of dulling out our armor and blackening it, is really going to help this pop out in the end. But it does take a little while. You gotta go through and paint all that armor, come back and then drop the other stuff. Anyway, the wash and then blah blah blah. It's a process. Little bits at a time. Just takes a little. It takes a while. I think with these bigger panels, though, we can switch to our bigger brush, which is going to be nice. Now that these panels have widened out for us. We definitely missed some bronze. Come back and redo that. Boy, that sword is so big. Every time I'm start tipping it, and I can always feel it touch the mat. I'm like, oh man, that thing's long. I keep sticking the tip of it in the color in the white. Ooh, yeah. Goodness. Okay, there we go. Dun dun dun. Heck yeah. Just gotta get this really strange spot under here. Gotta be a funny little angle. Take our time. Watch what we're doing. All right. So we've got an interesting conundrum here, where this is kind of funny. Let's see what it looks like with the head on there, though. Yes, because with the head on there, you can hardly tell what's happening. So we need to make some choices. This one's line should end right about here. So what we could do is just kind of fake this thing right here by adding that grayness, and then we'll come back with a little bit of the bronze and try and trace out where this should go. And that helps us with that, the logic of why we would want to fill that in as more of that bronze, just to kind of help us influence the way it's supposed to look. Because that would be a really hard place for the 3D sculpture to get it to look exactly right. But that should solve that little bit of mystery there. Again, he's going to be sitting on his perch, so you're really not going to see that a lot. So should be fine. And this is where we're going to really start to get a chance to clean some of this up. If we see any places where we need to add one color or the other, this is the time. Some of these bigger plates, we probably, when we ran through it, we did like one coat. So some of them are going to need a second coat. Some of them are going to need some touch-ups. As we're setting all this down, we'll be able to kind of figure that out. And that little hook, you'll only really see it if you get way close up on it. And that's kind of the idea. We want it to help stabilize the model, but we don't really want to detract from the overall look and feel of the model itself. So we head the way that's locked in. But that right there has locked in this arm really, really well. There's no chances of it falling off in years to come, which is what we want. The client needs that sort of like just respect for his time and money. Just take your time. Little bits, you know. Alright. A little misstroke there. We got that fixed. Again, if you feel like you got to come back through and do a little bit of touch-up work on some of your bronze, it's good to just get that knocked out real quick and then move on to the next piece of this armor. That way, as we're coming through here, we're able to kind of get everything touched up and ready for the wash, so that after we drop the wash on, we just do a little bit of rub to clean up the excess, and then just a few little places we might have to highlight up to bring it all back to life. But again, this game is very grimdark, so it's very, it should be gritty and a little bit dirty and old, decayed looking Fallen Empire kind of thing, you know. So we don't want it to look too clean. We want our lines to look the way they're supposed to, but we don't need the colors to be super clean per se. Give my hand just a little bit of a rest here. It's good to go ahead and rest your hands, especially when you get older. I say this a lot, but yeah, I keep saying it. Tumble to the face. But yeah, you kind of just let your hand get a little bit of rest. Put it at your side and just kind of make gentle fists. Pump the blood into it. And when you get my age, it's probably a sign of arthritis. And if you continue to do that, like once it starts becoming numb, you're going to probably give yourself a little bit of nerve damage. So definitely chill. Put him down too. He's a heavy guy. We're cruising now though. We got this midsection and we're getting part of that top armor done. Looking real good. And if you had to kind of paint over some of these rivets, like that one is down here too, it's a little bit of a hard angle to get at. Can always come back and repaint the rivets bronze when we here in just a second. So don't get too upset if you accidentally paint over rivet, or if you have to, because you know the way the model is working for you right now. That is a major consideration at all times. What is the model actually going to allow me to do? There's been many times I've had the model itself dictate exactly what I was going to be able to do with it, or not do with it. And you really see them next to each other. You can really tell the differences in the two. This right here is a lead belcher, which is a little bit up from Iron Warriors, which is in between those two. So, you know, lots of different colors. All metal. Anyway. Keep it on, keep it on. Kind of keep trying to work at the chipping away these edges. It is a lot of work. It will make your mind kind of go a little buggy for you. I am glad this is a bigger model. Doing all that edge highlighting when on smaller models is so rough. And you have to do what is it, Black Legion? Black Legion for 40K is very much like this as well. I'm actually going to go ahead and knock this out with this same color. We'll work on that edge highlight here in a minute. Seems like a really... this isn't the way this should actually work, but I definitely want to put some color on it and some texture and get it ready for when we throw the wash on. It'll be a place we won't rub much of it off. We won't take probably none of it, actually none of the excess. But we do want to have a little bit of color there because they've made some sort of a texture on it. And I don't know that we necessarily want to paint it bronze because we don't want to really don't want to make it look like that's a giant chunk of bronze. And again, I don't like painting up unless this situation requires it. I would much prefer to pull down. But everybody's kind of got their own thing. I know some people are more comfortable doing it the other way. Yeah, we're here doing this. Well, almost every weekday. 1 p.m. Central Time to about 2 p.m. Central Time. I try to do about an hour. You know, I really do appreciate everybody who comes by and drops the likes or just gives us a few minutes of watching time, or you know, comments. Any of that stuff is all wonderful. Really, really appreciate it. It's fun to have people interested in what you do as a vlog. Like I said, this is a commissioned piece for a game called Elden Ring. Well, it's not for the people who made the game, of course. It's for a customer of mine who loves the game. He got this model off of Etsy, if I remember correctly. So then it's a 3D print. It's been a lot of fun painting him. He's really big project. So it'll be interesting to see what we get out of the next one. Let me pull this camera back just a touch. There we go. That's a lot better. Some of the sculpting up here is a little weird, but again, it is on the back. Sometimes it's easier to focus on the front and get the product out, so I totally get it. And there's another piece that goes on top of them that's actually going to cover a lot of that. So this is going to kind of be like, you know, Society of the Hidden Paint kind of thing. Some of this stuff is kind of irrelevant. Sure is going to be fun to see this whole thing covered in that wash. Bring this all down. Really going to make this armor look great. Another reason you might want to make sure you put a layer of something on these is that a few layers of paint are really going to help cover up some of the swirls and whirls you get from 3D printing. As 3D printing is the way, just the nature of how it works, can create lines and swirls and whirls in a model. And so it's a good idea to go ahead and have a couple layers in there just to kind of make sure you're going to smooth out some of that stuff that you may have missed when you went to try and sand it or whatever. Also, some of the stuff you can't really sand it, because if you do, you know, you're gonna lose some of the detail. So you kind of have to be careful. And sometimes the only solution is paint. We're getting very close to having to do his back. This is weird. So here's another strange one. This side has this little lock piece, but this side doesn't have it at all. So like you got to decide whether or not to keep it. On the other hand, I think this may have something to do with maybe this other piece. Let's see. You always want to kind of, this is my point being here. So sometimes you want to check stuff out. See, now that has nothing to do with this. So, I don't know what that's about. Anyway. And that's just kind of what it is. But we'll put that on there after we get everything painted. And you can see, like I said, you're not even going to see any of that stuff down there at all once this is on. It's all hidden. So, I mean, I could write my name in there and nobody'd even know. Kind of fun idea. I think we're going to put Mike's initials on the bottom of his foot, like Andy and Woody from from Toy Story. Andy or Woody's got Andy's name on. I thought it'd be funny. Our patron for this project is a really nice guy, so I've been very happy do go a little extra, you know. The way I structure my pricing has a lot to do with, you know, what kind of level of workmanship you're looking for, and whether or not you kind of want to be on my show. Items that I'm out of focus. There we go. Items that I don't normally like. If I'm not doing it on the show, if I'm just doing normal, they'll cost a little more because I give little discounts for having things done on the show. It takes me longer if it's done on the show, because I only spend an hour a day doing the show, so they go a little slower. But you get the advantage of having all your stuff done live, so you can go and say, okay, well, hey, check it out. This is where he's painting it. You want to see it? And you can come in and kind of show a couple clips of me painting up the deal. And it's like the authenticity, the authentication kind of thing. Blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like authentication. Show you that it really was hand painted. Kind of a fun gig, if you like that sort of thing. You know, if you like just the basic mass media stuff too, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. I kind of dig some of it myself. I got tons of Warhammer mass media stuff laying around the place, so like I get it totally. Now I am not going to worry about that crevice because that is where our other part glues onto, so we don't have to worry so much about that. Like I said, don't be afraid. If you paint over a rivet, we'll come back and we'll rivet. That's a frog joke. For all my viewers out there that are frogs, it was very hilarious. I don't expect that number's high. I don't know that frogs watch YouTube. But if they did, by golly, you got a place here. You can come watch us, hang out. Rivet, man, rivet. See, I told y'all this show gets weird. Okay. 5 minutes in, we're getting close to having to wrap up for the day. I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping to get a little further. It is a lot. There's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. Well, I guess we did get a little ways, didn't we? It wasn't all bad. We'll water this guy here. We're having to switch to a smaller brush here to kind of get in. On this small shoulder guy. And here's another place here where I think we talked about this last time, where it looks damaged. Now it's hard to tell with the way this model is whether or not that damage is from the print itself or if it was part of the design. It was like that when I got it, so it's hard to say. Our last piece we got, it was 3D printed, the Radigan. It had a lot of damage to it because it was the kind of print it was. The resin they used is better for smaller things. And he was real spiny, so like it had a lot of this kind of stuff that was long, and those things break super easy. So we had to do a lot of sculpting for that one. This one we've done no sculpting. I mean, we had to kind of sculpt this line in for his arm, and that was about it. So very different kinds of models. It's kind of fun to be able to showcase the different types of models that are out there and how to kind of deal with them. Especially as 3D printing kind of changes the landscape on, you know, miniatures and sculptures and stuff like that. And now you can buy whatever kind of sculpture you want and print it if you have a printer. Or heck, you know, these guys on Etsy, I believe this one came from Etsy. So you can go and buy all sorts of different sculptures of whatever you want on Etsy. And these guys can print them out for you and ship them. And it's really not that expensive. Now, if you want a custom paint job, that can get expensive. We were kind of just talking about that. And that really depends on, you know, what kind of artist you're dealing with and how much they're going to charge, or what exactly it is you want them to do. Usually influences that cost the most. So like if you want it, like if say Mr. Gold here had wanted me to do a bunch of embellishments and stuff like that on, you know, the back of his cloak or, you know, whatever, it would cost more than what he asked for, which was you know, give it a really good paint job, make it look really close, but let's stay within this budget area. That kind of stuff is helpful for both sides of the party. So don't forget, when you're talking to artists, don't be afraid to tell them what your budget is. They'll tell you whether or not they can do it for that amount of money. You know, and don't be afraid to tell them, you know, that, oh, this is what I want, this is the level of thing I want, and let them decide whether or not they want to mess with it for the amount of money. And there's always another artist around the corner that's probably help you out if one doesn't want to do it. Now there are certain prices that you just have to pay whenever you get custom paint jobs and stuff. You're asking for people's time, you know. Pretty gnarly. Alright, well that's us at about an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and start closing it down. God, he looks so awesome. That metallic really is working out well for us. Once we get that, what we did, we're talking about adding more water. So we're just going to add a little bit of our handy H2O. As you come down here, wherever my edge is, where the crack is, it just needs a little bit extra water. Shut that down. Come back tomorrow. Won't be so dried out. You might have to scrap it. You might not. You got to make that judgment call every day. And some of those paints might be totally toast by now. But the one we're working on has been just fine. And it's looking great. Really, it's so well, like, depending on how the light's hitting it, makes it look blacker. Which is exactly kind of what we want. And remember, this is the only part that's actually gotten the treatment. So this other stuff is going to tone down a lot. And we got to make a choice on these frills. I'm almost feeling like bringing that gold back and doing these frills down here in this gold, just to have that other color come out, and a little bit, and just some differences and variations. But anyway, we're looking really good, really exciting. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Yep, because tomorrow's Friday, so I'll be back tomorrow, doing the same Pat thing at the same Pat time and the same Pat channel. I stole that from Batman. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great time. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the things. I think. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.